Let's be honest. When she walked away, you thought she'd never look back. You saw her laugh again, post pictures, maybe even act like she was happier without you. And in that moment, you told yourself, she's moved on. But here's the truth most men never hear. When a woman truly regrets losing you, it doesn't start loud. It starts quiet. It's not the tears you see on her face or the texts she sends at 2 a.m. It's in the moments she doesn't tell anyone about. Like when she passes your favorite song and skips it too fast. When she laughs with someone new, but the sound doesn't feel the same. When her friends ask, "Are you okay?" and she smiles. Yet deep down, there's a shadow behind her eyes. That's where regret lives. You see, women rarely admit regret the way men do. A man feels loss in waves. He breaks, he rebuilds, he moves forward. But a woman, she hides her regret beneath pride, denial, and the image she's built to survive. And if you were the man who gave her emotional safety, respect, and that unspoken sense of home, I promise you, somewhere, she feels the absence of that energy like a storm she can't control. Regret for a woman isn't just missing your presence. It's missing the version of herself she could only be when she was with you. Because deep down, she knows. She'll never feel that level of calm again. That's the first sign she secretly regrets losing you. Her silence starts to sound like your name. And here's where most men get it wrong. You think that if she's not calling or texting, she's forgotten you. But women don't process regret through contact. They process it through comparison. She'll date, she'll talk, she'll try to replace, but every man she meets will feel a little off, too cold, too controlling, too unsure. Because once a woman has experienced a man who truly saw her, every other connection feels like an echo. That's when it begins. The realization that maybe she walked away from something real, and she won't admit it. Not to her friends, not even to herself, but her actions will tell the story. She'll start watching your stories again, pretending it's an accident. She'll keep the gifts you gave her tucked away, just in case. She'll stalk your page when she's alone, trying to decode whether you've moved on. That's how female regret breathes, quietly, slowly, and always too late. And while you're out there rebuilding your life, she's replaying moments in her mind like an unfinished movie. The way you looked at her, the way you made her feel understood, and she'll start to wonder if she misjudged what she had. Because for women, love isn't about logic, it's about emotional resonance. And when that resonance disappears, regret fills the silence. But don't mistake her curiosity for love again. She's not reaching out to fix things. She's reaching out to soothe her guilt. Because women don't regret losing men who were weak, needy, or controlling. They regret losing men who stayed grounded even when she tested them. Men who respected themselves enough to walk away when they were no longer respected. That's the power she remembers. The version of you who didn't chase her, but instead became the man she never thought she'd lose. So if you're sitting there wondering whether she feels your absence, trust me, she does. Not in her words, but in her restlessness. Not in her posts, but in her silence. Not in her life, but in the parts she can't move on from. Because when a woman truly regrets losing you, it's not about wanting you back. It's about realizing she lost something she can't replace. And that realization will haunt her far longer than she'll ever admit. She'll never tell you this, but regret doesn't hit her all at once. It creeps in like smoke under the door. Slowly, silently, until her world doesn't smell the same anymore. At first, she tells herself she's fine. She repeats it like a mantra. I'm okay. I'm free. I made the right choice. She goes out, she posts pictures, she even laughs louder than she used to. But deep down, every performance has a price. Because the more she tries to prove she's over you, the more she starts to realize she's not. It begins in small moments she can't explain. She'll hear a song you both used to play, and suddenly her chest tightens. She'll see something you used to say, and it echoes in her head like a whisper she can't silence. That's how female psychology works. Women don't just miss you, they miss the emotional pattern you created in their nervous system, the comfort, the familiarity, the sense of safety she once felt in your presence. It's all wired into her memory, and when that's gone, she feels the withdrawal like an addiction she can't admit to anyone. That's why she'll start reaching for distractions. She'll text friends more often, scroll endlessly, talk to someone new, not because she's moved on, but because she's trying to fill the space you left behind. And no matter how hard she tries, that space remains. Because here's the secret. Women regret losing men who carried emotional depth. Men who weren't afraid to walk away when they weren't valued. Men who had standards, not because they wanted control, but because they respected themselves. When she loses a man like that, her subconscious mind starts to rewire the story. She'll begin to question herself. Was I too harsh? Did I expect too much? Maybe he wasn't the problem after all. That's the moment her ego cracks. And once it cracks, the truth begins to slip through. She starts to remember how calm she felt when you spoke with certainty, how grounded your presence was when things fell apart, how even your silence carried weight. And suddenly, every other man feels lightweight compared to you. But here's the paradox most men don't understand. Regret doesn't make her run back to you right away. It makes her hide. Because admitting regret means admitting she was wrong. And most women would rather protect their pride than face that kind of vulnerability. So instead, she'll test you from afar. She'll like an old photo. She'll view your story and disappear. She might even send a vague message just to check in. It's not love, it's a test. She wants to know if you've moved on, if you still care, if you're still emotionally available. And this is where your strength is tested too. Because if you react too fast, she knows she still has emotional power over you. But if you stay calm, grounded, and focused on your own growth, something changes in her mind. Suddenly, you're the one who got away. That's when the real regret begins to sink in. She'll remember how she felt when she had your full attention, how your energy made her feel feminine, safe, alive. And she'll start to notice that other men don't make her feel the same way. Not because they're bad, but because you carried something deeper, an emotional masculinity that's rare, the kind that doesn't demand respect, but commands it through presence. That's what she's regretting. Not the texts, not the moments, not even the love itself, but the feeling of being around a man who knew his worth. She'll start replaying your conversations in her mind, searching for clues. She'll remember the times she pushed you away just to see if you'd chase. And now she wishes you didn't stop trying. But deep down, she knows. She created the distance, and she can't undo it now. That's the cruel beauty of regret. It doesn't punish instantly. It waits. It grows in silence until it becomes unbearable. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you're already becoming the version of yourself she always wanted, but can no longer have. So if you ever wonder whether she regrets losing you, look at her actions, not her words. She won't say, "I miss you." But her energy will tell the story. And when that moment comes, don't chase validation. Stand tall. Because your silence, your evolution, your peace, that's what makes her regret real. There's a moment in every woman's regret that feels like a mirror shattering. She looks at you, maybe through a photo, a memory, or someone's casual mention of your name, and realizes you've changed, not in the dramatic, flashy way, but in that quiet, grounded way that only a man who's healed can. You're no longer the man she could control emotionally. You've become the man who no longer needs her validation to feel enough. And that's when it hits her. The same man she took for granted has become everything she secretly wanted, but without her. It's a kind of emotional punishment no woman admits out loud, because she doesn't just regret losing you, she regrets losing the chance to grow alongside you. She starts seeing you through the lens of her past mistakes, the way she dismissed your effort, the way she tested your patience just to feel powerful, the times she pulled away, assuming you'd always be there waiting. But now, you're not waiting anymore. You've built a new rhythm. Maybe you're focused on your career, your purpose, your body, your peace, and that transformation speaks louder than any words ever could. Because when a man rebuilds himself after being broken, he becomes magnetic, not just to women, but to life itself. And she feels that shift in her bones. At first, she'll try to minimize it. She'll tell herself, he's just pretending to be happy. She'll say, he's probably still hurt, Or he's just trying to prove something. That's her ego talking, because if she admits you've truly moved on, she has to face the truth that she lost something real, and that realization burns. It's not jealousy, it's grief. Grief for the version of herself who thought she'd always have the upper hand. Grief for the connection she now knows she didn't understand when she had it. That's when she starts to spiral internally. She'll revisit your old messages, not to reminisce, but to feel connected again. She'll watch your stories in secret, scanning for hints of who you've become. If you look happy, confident, at peace, that stirs something deep inside her. Because in her subconscious, she's realizing she didn't just lose you, she lost her influence over you. And for a woman, that loss cuts deeper than words can explain. Here's the hidden psychology. A woman doesn't regret losing a man when he's broken. She regrets losing him when he rebuilds, because in that moment, he becomes the embodiment of everything she once wanted him to be. Only now, she doesn't get to experience it, and that contrast becomes unbearable. She'll start projecting. Maybe she'll talk negatively about you to mutual friends, pretending she's over it. Maybe she'll post quotes about healing and self-love to mask her restlessness. But all of it, every post, every comment, every moment of silence, is driven by one truth she can't escape. She thought she could replace you. She was wrong. You see, real masculine energy can't be replicated. It's not about muscles, money, or charm. It's about presence, that unshakable calm that tells her, I don't need you to complete me. That's the energy she underestimated when she left. And now she's realizing no one else gives her that same sense of emotional gravity. She may even start reaching out again, pretending it's casual. Hey, how have you been? A random reaction to your story. A text about something insignificant from the past. Don't be fooled. Those aren't random. They're emotional check-ins. She's testing whether she still holds a place in your world. And when she senses your detachment, that's when regret turns into pain. Because women are emotional time travelers. They revisit the past in their minds more vividly than men do. And when she revisits you, she doesn't just remember what you did, she feels who she was when she was with you. That's the ache she can't escape. The truth that maybe, just maybe, she let go of something real for something temporary. So if you've grown, healed, and moved forward, understand this, she feels it, even if she never says it, even if she's with someone new, because her body remembers your peace, her mind remembers your strength, and her heart remembers the version of her that only existed next to you. That's what she truly regrets losing, not just the man you were, but the man you became after she left. At first, she could handle missing you. It was just a dull ache, background noise she could silence with distractions. But when she sees you happy, genuinely happy, something inside her begins to unravel. She scrolls past your picture, pauses, and that flicker of calm on your face pierces her pride. You look lighter, more grounded, as if the chaos she once brought no longer defines you. That's the moment her regret mutates into confusion. She can't make sense of it, because in her mind, she was supposed to be the one who moved on first. She was supposed to be the one who found peace while you still wrestled with the memories. But instead, you've become untouchable. A man radiating self-respect, focus, and freedom, and that energy both attracts and terrifies her. She'll start to compare. The man she's with now, maybe he's kind, maybe he's not, but he doesn't challenge her the way you did. He doesn't make her feel seen without words. He doesn't carry that quiet discipline in his tone, that certainty in his eyes. And the more she notices, the more restless she becomes. Because no matter how hard she tries, she can't recreate that chemistry. The one built not on lust, but on emotional gravity. So she does what most people do when they can't handle regret. She hides it behind curiosity. She'll keep tabs on you from a distance. Maybe she'll accidentally open your story at 2 a.m. or mention your name in passing to mutual friends. Every small glimpse of your progress feeds the very thing she's trying to starve, her attachment. Because when you evolve without her, you challenge her entire narrative of how love and control were supposed to work. And deep down, she hates that she still feels drawn to you. That's the dangerous part of female regret. It often turns into fascination, not because she wants you back, but because she can't understand how you managed to outgrow her. She thought you'd always orbit her emotional world, but now you've stepped into your own gravity, and that's when the jealousy begins to surface. If she sees another woman around you, smiling, relaxed, enjoying your presence, her stomach twists. She'll pretend not to care, but it lingers, because that new woman is experiencing the peace she once took for granted. And that realization cuts deeper than heartbreak. It's ego death. Yet here's the paradox. She won't admit jealousy directly. She'll disguise it as criticism. She might say, "He's changed," or "He's different now." But what she really means is, "He's grown past the version of me that left him." And that truth is unbearable. This is where your silence becomes your greatest power. Every time you don't react, every time you choose peace over proving a point, you take back control of the story. Because the one thing regret can't survive is indifference. When she realizes she no longer has emotional power over you, her mind begins to spiral. She'll start replaying the breakup, searching for a reason, any reason, that makes her feel in control again. But she won't find one, because your growth isn't about her anymore. It's about you. She'll see your consistency, your gym photos, your calm tone, your steady improvement. And part of her will want to reach out just to test if the door is still open. Don't mistake that for love. That's curiosity mixed with loss. And if you let her back too easily, she'll lose respect again. Because what she truly admires now is your strength, not your softness. Women are drawn to men who can love deeply without losing themselves. And when she sees that you've become that man, she feels the weight of her decision like never before. It's not about wanting the relationship back. It's about wanting the peace she destroyed when she left. That's the final stage of her regret before acceptance, the obsession with who you've become. She'll play strong, she'll act healed, she'll post about finding herself, but deep down, she knows she's still trying to find the man who taught her what emotional security felt like. And that's the truth she'll never post about, never say out loud, and never fully escape. Because the greatest revenge is not anger or payback, it's evolution. And when you evolve into peace, purpose, and power, she realizes she didn't just lose you, she lost the only version of love that ever felt real. There comes a night she doesn't talk about, the night she finally stops pretending she's fine. She's alone, maybe scrolling through memories, maybe sitting in silence, and she realizes she's not angry anymore. She's just empty. That's when regret becomes real. Because now it's no longer about missing you. It's about realizing she'll never experience that version of love again. She'll think about all the small moments she overlooked, the way you used to listen when no one else did, the patience you had when she was unreasonable, the calm tone you carried when she tried to provoke you, and she'll wonder, how did I not see it then? That's the question that haunts her. She'll try to rewrite the story in her mind, telling herself it just wasn't meant to be. But even as she says the words, her chest tightens, because she knows deep down it could have been, if only she'd chosen differently. Now you're not hers to call anymore. You've outgrown the pain. You've built something stronger than what she left, a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on her attention. And that realization hits her harder than anything else. Because while she was busy searching for happiness outside of you, you built it within yourself. She'll try to reach out one last time. Maybe a small message, maybe through someone else, not to rebuild the relationship, but to feel close to the version of herself that felt safe when she was with you. And that's when you finally understand. Her regret isn't your responsibility anymore. It's her teacher. You've already learned your lesson that real strength isn't about chasing closure, it's about creating peace. That love doesn't mean losing yourself just to be understood, and that sometimes the best way to honor the past is to let it stay there. Because you see, when a woman regrets losing a good man, it's not just because of who he was, it's because of who he became after she left. The man who no longer begs for love, the man who no longer explains his worth, the man who wakes up with purpose and sleeps with peace. That's the energy that changes everything. It's not revenge, it's evolution. It's realizing that no matter who walked away, you're the one who rose higher. So when she thinks of you now, It's not with anger or hate, it's with quiet awe, because she finally understands that she didn't lose a man who loved her. She lost a man who would have loved her forever if she'd only chosen to grow with him. And that kind of regret doesn't fade. It follows her through every new connection, every late-night thought, every time she meets someone new and wonders, why doesn't it feel like it did with him? But for you, this is peace. This is where your story restarts, because the truth is, she wasn't your ending. She was your awakening, the one who taught you boundaries, patience, and power, the one who made you realize that love without respect isn't love at all. And now, as you walk forward, you carry that wisdom with you, the calm confidence of a man who knows his value. So take a deep breath. You don't need her to regret losing you, because her regret is proof enough that you were worth keeping. And now, the only question that matters is this question for you. If she came back today, not with words, but with silence, would you open that door again, or would you finally walk through your own? Tell me your honest answer in the comments. If this video spoke to you, give it a like. Subscribe for more powerful truths about relationships and self-respect. And share this video with a man who needs to hear this today, because sometimes healing starts with hearing the truth.